Good afternoon. I'm Becky Hine. I'm one of the trainers from Washington County. Today, we're going to be talking about Alphabetics Activities. In another unit, we talked about how to teach alphabetics. Here, we're going to show you some ideas of things that you can do to make or buy hands-on activities and strategies to help your student understand the written word. We will review the strategies involved in teaching alphabetics and show you hands-on activities to go with those strategies. Phonological awareness is the sensitivity to and awareness of sounds of a language, and people with reading difficulties may need help to develop this. As we explained in the Teaching Alphabetics, when you're teaching phonics, you're helping the student understand that each letter has both a sound and a name. From here, we move up to bigger segments of words until we finally get sentences to decode using context clues. Each slide in the beginning level student books will have several worksheet activities for phonics practice. The Activities Practice Activities handout has step-by-step instructions for 12 activities that you can add to your lessons, along with ideas for mixing them up. Here are a couple examples. A word find, you choose a sound and have the student search a short passage for words with that sound at the beginning, middle, or the end of a word. Or the student could search for a particular sight word, such as they or here. The same and different activity can be used for practicing pronunciation, where you ask the student to differentiate between two sounds. This is also a great way to practice listening and making connections between that sound that is heard and the letter or the letter combinations that go with that sound. The sound box activities you can see here on your right, that asks the students to fill in the letters to make up each sound in a word that's represented by the picture. This activity can be tricky because the number of sounds may be different from the number of letters. For example, the word tooth has 5 letters, but only 3 sounds. T, oo, th. You can also make word slides like the one here to practice word families. You write ache on the index card and then put cards with different letters in front of ache to make bake, cake, and lake. If you'd like, you could also ask your student to copy down each word as you go. You can also write down pairs of words that your student confuses, or words that they mispronounce or confuse with other words. You can spend some extra time and extra practice on these. Here are some of the multisensory activities that can work in person or online by holding them up to your webcam. Wheels can be used for many different phonics lessons. The first example in the picture adds different word endings. You could make the center circle prefixes and the outer circle words that where you just add a prefix to, or you could make a wheel teaching word families where the inner circle with the word endings like at, all, and ite. And the outer circle then could be single letters like M. It could also be used for compound words or homonyms like here and here, H-E-R-E and H-E-A-R. That's what you can see in the bottom left there. Bend cards can also be used for prefixes, suffixes, and syllables that you can see that in the bottom right where we're using build and building. Another great multisensory activity for beginners is to use texture. You can ask your student to write down a given letter of the alphabet or a whole word on paper, and you can write it for them to look at. Then ask your student to rewrite the word or letter with just their fingers using any available rough surface, the carpet, sandpaper, cinder block wall, even their denim jeans. Or they could write it with their finger on their inner arm, the part between your elbow and your wrist, while they look at the written word. This technique uses several senses at once: sight, hearing, touch, along with speaking, all reinforcing the learning. You can use flashcards, wheels, bend cards, word puzzles. You see the word puzzles up there in the top right for teaching many different things, such as sentence structure, vocabulary practice, writing, spelling, as well as alphabetics. The top right, you'll notice that each word is cut apart differently so that your student succeeds by putting the puzzle together, whether they can read all of it or not. As students advance, recognizing word parts helps them to decode longer, more complex words. Understanding root words, prefixes, suffixes, compound words, and the difference between plurals and possessives also helps with word meanings. In the example here, puzzles have been made of compound words, putting one part on each of separate cards. To make it self-correcting, you can write the compound word on a long card and then cut each word in a different way so that it fits together correctly. This same method works for prefixes and suffixes. When working with syllables, a student must first determine how many syllables are in a word. You can show them that by clapping the syllables as you say a word. You can practice it here to hear how many syllables are in each different word. Agency, invested, submit. Understanding syllables and the patterns can help with decoding. For example, closed, open, and vowel consonant E syllables are especially helpful to understand because the vowel sounds in each are very predictable. They also are very easy to teach. The vowel in a closed syllable is followed or closed in by one or more consonants, and the vowel sound is almost always short. An example of the word is wet. The vowel in an open syllable is not closed in by a consonant, and the vowel sound is almost always long, as in the word we. So if the door is open, we don't see the T, and we just see we. The E is long. So with these little doors, you can show the open and closed syllables. It's a neat memory device. The closed door, closed syllable, open door, open syllable. Syllables with the vowel consonant E pattern end with a silent E. The vowel before the consonant is long. Using a bend card, you can show your student how the vowel changes from short to long as you fold the flap over to make the E. So mad becomes made. We have lots more information on teaching syllables in a separate unit. You can also find information in your tutor information book on teaching syllables. Sight words are the words that are most commonly used and that readers are taught to recognize immediately when they see them. The shape of the word, the length, the specific letter combination are all clues to help students recognize the words. Old-fashioned flashcards are very effective and work really well to teach sight words. You can make your own flashcards using index cards, or your student can make them. On the back, you can write down the definition of the word or use it in a sentence. ESL students might also find it helpful to write the word in their native language on the back. Practice new, frequently used words until they become sight words. After practicing, show your student how to sort the cards by known and unknown. This activity is a very tangible measure of the progress and a great motivator for your student as the pile of known sight words grows. Fill in the blank activities. Here we use the context to decode words, and this also is a very important skill. It involves using skills or clues around the surrounding words while you're reading. Here are examples of a couple of fill in the blank activities. You might use the first example for a beginning reader, since there are only two choices and they are placed right where the student would need to insert the word. This example demonstrates the vowel consonant silent E pattern. The second example might be used with a higher level student. The student reads the sentence and then selects the word to fill in the blank. This one can be a little bit tricky. To use context clues effectively, students must recognize and understand enough of the rest of the word to help them with the words they don't know. Nouns and verbs are easier to fill in than prepositions or other small words. Here are two more challenging fill in the blank examples. Can you figure out the first one? Cindy wants to grow vegetables in her garden. How about the second one? This one's even harder. With the price of vegetables going up, people are trying to grow their own. Very good if you got them. You can also design close activities. Close activities use random but predetermined word count depletions, such as every 8th word. These are much more challenging since any part of the speech may be needed to complete the passage. We hope these ideas have been helpful to you and your student. There may be many more ideas in the handouts and the tutor information booklet that you were given. If you can no longer find these items, please reach out to your literacy council for help. There are also 2 other units about alphabetics. Be sure to check them out also. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.